And we want to get to today's top talker. You are now taking a live look outside. We'll show you across Cleveland. Skyline is undergoing change, and one of the biggest lingering questions, how to fund upgrades to places like Brown Stadium and Hopkins Airport. Instead of relying on residents within Cleveland city limits, a new proposal would involve all of Northeast Ohio.
We are so glad to be joined by our partners over at Cleveland.com and their public interest and advocacy editor, Leila Atassi.
Yes.
Okay, and we've been getting a lot of feedback based on a recent article that was written proposing a regional 0.25% sales tax. So, taxes have been a real issue, a real topic of conversation.
Yes.
Why this idea? And, help us understand exactly what it would fund.
Sure. This is really a thought exercise that comes out of brainstorming over at Cleveland.com. We wanted to open the door to conversation about regionalism in a real way, especially as it relates to how we can fund our capital projects here in Northeast Ohio. I'm specifically talking about stadiums and airports, as you said. These are facilities that are really important to so many in the region, and they're always in the news because we can't figure out how to fund them properly and how to manage them properly. So what we're proposing is a 0.25% sales tax, as you said, spread across a 9-county region. And we would create a facilities commission that would manage all of these facilities. This is a proposal that over 40 years would raise over $20 billion.
Wow.
That would be spent to cover half the cost of rebuilding every single one of our pro sports stadiums, with, importantly, those billionaire sports teams covering the other half of the cost.
Oh, okay.
Each of these facilities would get a midlife renovation. It would cover the cost of rebuilding our international airport that is in desperate need of being rebuilt. Akron-Canton Airport would get a slice of this money, as would our minor league sports stadiums. And even the campaign to bring women's soccer to Cleveland would also get some money for that stadium that they say is so critical to convincing the National League to bring a team here.
Yeah, well, I'm sure some of these organizations have their own opinions on this proposal, but what's been the reaction from readers?
Well, the reaction readers have welcomed this idea with open arms. We've gotten a variety of reader feedback. I'd say that the civic leaders and public officials are a little bit more provincial in their thinking, which is kind of why we never have these regionalism discussions. They're always kind of about, what's in it for my people and blah, blah, blah. But the readers have been so open-minded about this, really agreeing with the idea that we all use these facilities, we should all be shouldering the cost of them. But there's also some pushback and it's all thoughtful feedback, even the criticism, which I happen to agree that with some of the criticism that, for example, I don't fully believe that pro sports teams should benefit from public tax dollars for pro sports stadiums. But it's fine. I'm not here to necessarily champion this plan. I'm here to champion the idea of regionalism and conversations about regionalism. And sometimes it takes a bold idea to start pushing that conversation.
And you make such a good point. We all use, whether we're in the city of Cleveland or not, there is a wide swath of Northeast Ohio that utilizes everything that you're talking about, all of these places. So.
And pro sports teams are so important to our cultural identity. Whether or not you're a sports fan, we have to kind of agree on all that.
Listen, I'm from this area. I moved away for years, and I always told people, if you want to see diehard sports fans, go to Cleveland, Ohio, because that is where we live and breathe all of it.
Yeah.
Leila, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So good to partner with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time.